Comics Code, or as he was once known as, Dillin Thomas, is a YouTuber who started his channel back in 2016, making Sonic Theory videos alongside contemporaries Gamer Guy D7 Aces and the Sega Scourge. He's primarily known for making videos pointing and laughing at things that he finds stupid. No matter what he tells you, this has always been his main shtick. His videos, mostly subdivided into separate series, have him reading an article or thread of some kind that speaks upon the topic at hand. While the content in of itself can be amusing on its own, the host going over everything isn't always. At least, not alone anyway. When working with other people, however, that's where his stuff truly shines, for what that's worth. That said, he clearly suffers from some kind of dyslexia, seen in the numerous reading errors he tends to make in said videos, which can be a little frustrating to listen to, but I suppose that's not too terribly important. What is something that has plagued his entire channel for quite some time. Something that I'll be calling the Dillin cycle. Like former YouTuber Mr. Medicare, someone who also pointed and laughed at eccentric individuals within certain communities, Dillin is one who loves to dish out all kinds of critique, occasionally insults, but doesn't seem to ever take it too well in return. A well-known example of this can be found in 2017, where he, defending Doodle Tones following a video made about the diaper-loving community, decided to go after a few of Medicare's followers. However, after a little bit, he went from taunting people to blocking them in hordes. Essentially, it's him talking big, getting hit, then running off. Thing is that this doesn't only happen here, but has also happened in comment sections of his videos or Twitter threads where someone voicing their displeasure will become the grounds for a whole argument. This also tends to get him into a lot of the drama that he's known for. I should note that I'm not too interested in giving you a whole history lesson about Dillin, instead only an overview before we get into what's really gotten my attention as of late. Going back to those series I brought up earlier, not a lot of these would last for far too long. Mostly coming down to drama between he and whoever he was doing the show with, there would only be 2 to 3 episodes at best before suddenly being abandoned. The two that really got him a lot of notoriety, as far as I can tell, would be his readings of the Christian Wiki, otherwise known as the Quickie, and the infamous Sonic Insanity, which would go on to inspire a certain video series that you're watching right now. The latter of which actually was the reason why I even subbed to his channel in the first place. Like I got it earlier, I was never too big a fan of many of his other videos, but these, especially with the other guests on, these were actually binge-worthy. One of the more common guests was a fella called Jesse Pajamas, a music composer and professional creep. His channel would really take off with these, long story short, but given all the drama he would get in, one had to often wonder just for how long. A few examples of said drama I can think of would be the scuffles with Gamer Guy, though he definitely had that coming to him, the fallout with Moogie Mikey following a Fuda Sonic video with a badly placed trans joke, the Emmy Jones Dr. Phil situation, and a few instances of jokes that in poor taste on Twitter, with even poorer responses later on that I can only vaguely recall. Fast forwarding now, the real implosion of Dillin Thomas would start around the end of last year, if I can recall correctly. In no particular order, he and his ex-girlfriend Taylor, who actually provided a lot of the channel's artwork, would break up and split ways. Then, Dillin and Rogue the Internet Man would start up a short-lived Chris Chan podcast, which would crash and burn spectacularly, with the latter totally ghosting Dillin after the fact. Then, after some back and forth across Twitter posts and videos, the two somehow decided to meet up on a live stream and talk things out.
Well, before I call him, allow me to preface how this whole little ordeal started. It started almost a year ago now. But really, so the other day I saw Ben Saint was being a dipshit on Twitter, and I was being snarky, and somebody mentioned Dillin along the line. I don't remember if it was me or somebody else, and Dillin somehow heard about that, and that seemed to upset him. And he, somehow along the line, it came to him challenging me to a debate for whatever fucking reason.
Continue to try to stress you out and make you do something
It
you
wasn't
don't want to
even,
do.
it was a stress to me because I didn't care. So
You were commenting on the videos telling people that you didn't like the show. You did it multiple times, Rogue. How am I
So
going to
what?
get you
So
to
fucking
continue
what?
doing...
So fucking what? I agreed to do it.
How am I supposed to continue to get you to do the show when you don't
Because
like
I fucking agreed to do it. Are you that fucking stupid? I agreed to do it with you.
Can you not insult me, Rogue?
Are you gonna cry? Come on, just talk like a fucking adult. You're fucking lying.
I am talking like an adult. I'm not lying.
You've got 1,400 people watching you, so
I'm not afraid of you, Rogue. I'm not afraid of you.
That's why your voice is shaky. I'm talking to you right now,
My
and then when I
voice
bring
is
up
not shaky.
when I bring up
I'm being
counterpoints, you try to
completely
talk
honest
over
with
me.
you, Rogue.
You try to talk over me.
I'm not talking over you.
You are attempting to.
If I am, then I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm obviously talking over you.
Rogue,
Jesus
you're
Christ.
acting like a child right now. Can we
There's
talk like normal
1,431 people here seeing you act like a fucking idiot.
people? You're the one acting like an idiot. You're the one insulting people. You're the one raising
Because
your
you're the
voice,
one
Rogue.
who's constantly caused fucking problems, and I've seen the logs of you talking shit. I've heard murmurs of people that are close to you. No, hold on. You can ask one in a moment. I've heard murmurs of people that are close to you saying that you were talking about me. Now, I figured you would, because I've seen your history where you always got to dissolve every stream. You always, somebody who's your internet friend is now your online enemy. So I figured, okay, whatever. But I didn't give it much mind, and of course, if somebody brings it up to me, I'm just going to brush it off as a joke, because that's the only way to approach it.
That didn't go too well. This was also around the time Dillin decided to come out with information pertaining to Jesse Pajamas being a kitty diddler. Actually, speaking of, make of the allegations what you will and push any dubious sources aside. He says at one point that he's always been aware of Jesse being creepy, but only now decided to actually say something about it. Why? If he's as dangerous as a person as he said he is, why didn't he take action much sooner? Why did he defend him when Moogie turned his back against him? From on there, Dillin would dip for a little bit, deleting a few videos, getting a counselor, and backing away from all the drama. While commendable, the problem is that the channel and his past reputation still existed. So what does he do to get around all that baggage? He deletes more videos. He promises to archive a few, but doesn't entirely go through with that. Then he makes a few community posts explaining what he's done and deletes even more videos, now including all the Sonic Insanity ones. Before long, the channel's literally just lost thousands upon hundreds of his previous views, all seemingly overnight. But, okay, maybe one just needs to let go of old habits and start off with a new, clean slate, right? So, what does Dillin do in place of these older videos? Boring comic book videos. In these, he rambles on and on about how stupid whatever he's talking about is, before turning to us and making these long-winded speeches about what he believes a superhero to be. Basically, 2015-esque Comicsgate era stuff. Naturally, because of this, he starts losing even more views, and now actually subscribers. This is all to say that no one really cares about this stuff. By the way, I think it's here that I should mention that this channel happens to be Dillin's main source of income.
Life, man. What the?
Around this time, he starts doing a bunch of donation streams, essentially begging for money while he plays Fortnite and Marvel's Avengers. Huh. Listen, I'm not trying to accuse you of anything, Dillin, but you do understand how sus this looks, right? Prancing around in your expensive skins while taking in super chats and everything. Also, man, prior to getting banned from your server, I sure did get quite a few everyone pings talking about these, with descriptions that eerily matched yours. At one point, he apparently got stranded and needed a couple of dollars to get back home. Despite a few people donating, he managed to get a friend to take him back anyway. So, what happened to the rest of that money? Moreover, how did you get wherever you were in the first place? Like, okay, I can understand getting a few dollars to get on by and everything every now and then. That and being burnt out by all your older stuff. Totally cool. But you seriously can't expect a bunch of randoms to consistently put food in your mouth, clothes on your back, etc., and not give anything worth anyone's time back in return. Yes, I am saying that your current videos aren't really anything worth funding. These streams, on top of the deletion of videos you once promised you wouldn't delete, had people wanting to complain. So naturally, they go to one of your videos, say whatever they need to say, and oh, comments just gone now. In all fairness, a few of Jesse's buddies had been going after him following the pedo video and raiding some of his stuff, but to take out simple comments that had nothing to do with any of Jesse's rhetoric, that aren't patting you on the back, you've actually got to be kidding me. Like, this has been happening everywhere. Any sort of dissent? Gone. Any argumentative videos of his? Gone too. Archives? All taken down. Dillin wants his new viewers to only see his supposedly nice and wholesome side. This side that's never gotten into any sort of conflict with anyone or made any sort of mistakes. His server too, where he mostly lurks these days, has mods that ban anyone who's even remotely critical on site, myself included. None of this is good, basically put. No actual clue if any of this has been making any sort of sense. If it hasn't, then I'll bring it all together like this. Also, in the off chance that you're listening, Dillin, while I may not be a big fan of the new direction of your channel, and it's absolutely up to you to decide what it is that you want to do, the literal fact of the matter is that unless you find another way to earn some form of income, you'll be trapped in this perpetually risky state of being borderline broke, especially during this turbulent transition. In addition to already alienating older viewers of yours with the new direction, you're outright killing them off by insisting that they either suck up to you or leave via the numerous bannings, blocks, and message deletions. That's not something a creator who feels secure about what they're doing does. That's something a lolcow trying to shield themselves from any sort of scrutiny does. And to all these people who keep giving him money and patting him on the back, you're literally enabling this continued bad behavior. Again, you can keep doing whatever it is that you're doing, but at some point I think it'd be a good idea to acknowledge your past wrongdoings and try to mend things wherever you can, especially if you really are trying to put things behind you in earnest. And finally, both to your videos and the Cyclone, try putting some effort to them and stop relying on those dumb filler pages. They're not clever. In reality, you're not the worst person ever, but definitely a misguided one, I feel. At least you're not posing an actual threat to people. Really, I'm not losing sleep over you or anything like that. If you decide to write this all off as me talking smack, however, then so be it. But I figured I should actually acknowledge all this at some point without it getting taken down because it's all become so absurd. I've written this script so many times, with some being more harsh and long-winded than others, but here we are. Anyway, that's gonna end all that for now. Tell me down in the comments what you think of Dillin and his channel's new direction. Yes, I promise you that I won't be deleting any of them. That, and I'd love to hear about who or what you'd like for me to cover next on either the Sonic Scorn or Asylum. Until next time, smile.